So your desktop computer probably has a big chunky power supply and a thick heavy cable running to the wall to provide all the power it needs. So have you ever wondered why the heck there is this little lithium battery of the size of a coin on your motherboard? Well, let's talk about that. So the battery is there to power something called CMO chip. CMO stands for complementary metal oxide semiconductor, and while that sounds complicated, all you really need to know is that it's a common way of manufacturing. Computer chips used for applications from camera sensors to analog, digital converters to amplifiers, but inside a piece has historically been shorthand for the chip that contained your BIOS settings. The BIOS or basic input-output system is responsible for controlling low-level settings and initializing the hardware. When your computer boots up, you are probably most familiar with it, as that settings program you can access. If you smash the delete or F1 key while PC is booting up, getting some frustration out in the... But the CMOS chip that keeps the settings was traditionally violate the memory, meaning all of these settings would have lost as soon as power was taken away. And since many people don't just leave their computers on 24/7, manufacturers put a coin battery on the motherboard to ensure the setting wouldn't just disappear if someone trips over the power cord or does the magic spell. But fast forward to modern times and it turns out that motherboards manufacturers don't use CMOS for the BIOS setting anymore, partially because those old CMOS chips only held 128 bits, but today's systems needs to store a lot more BIOS data. So instead they just chose a chip with non-volatile RAM or NVRAM that only has a higher capacity but can store data persistently, even if there is no power going. So what's the point of still having a battery then other than sentimental reasons? So the reasons? So the reason there's still a CMOS battery is because there's still a CMOS chip, but instead of handling the BIOS nowadays, it's mostly just responsible for timekeeping, just like a regular old wristwatch. Your computer needs power of some sort if you want to keep accurate time, so that battery ensures your computer's clock will tick away properly. Even if you left it unplugged for an extended period. And the fact that the lithium cell looks like battery you would put in your... It's just a nice bonus, but many servers can keep time accurately without CMOS battery. Even if the power goes out, instead of using the CMOS chip to keep the time locally server often connected to the NTP server at boot time. NTP stands for Network Time Protocol, which is used to connect to a different server over the internet to fetch the time accurate. This isn't commonly used on PC though. So that little battery on your motherboard is still quite important. In fact, if you remove it, you will probably find that BIOS settings will still reset just like they did the old days. I'm assuming just because of tradition. Just kidding, that was a joke. But actually not really, because people were so used to removing batteries as a mean of resetting the BIOS for so long. Most PC manufacturers simply kept this functionality in place as an easy way to clear. Of course, there are a good number of motherboards out there that features the clear CMOS button either on the board itself or on the rear I/O. Now the reason they kept terminology was again just because folks have just been so used to using CMOS as a synonym for BIOS that name just stuck. And although all this may be a little confusing, a good news is that the CMOS battery isn't something you have to worry about. They typically last for years before they might need to be replaced, but you might want to have a copy of your BIOS settings saved somewhere else. Especially if you're a type of a person to spend hours getting your RAM timings just right. You can't get the time back, but you might as well have your own BIOS settings. But I appreciate you spend the time that you can never get back to watch this video. Hey, like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Check out other videos and comment below your suggestions. And don't forget to subscribe and follow.